Hello everyone, meteorologist Tracy Hinson here. I am tracking snowfall across the bi-state today. We are under a winter weather advisory from the National Weather Service, as are all the areas here highlighted in purple. That's not to say that our counties that are not highlighted won't get any snowfall. It just won't be as measurable or as impactful as the areas that will be highlighted there in the purple. Now, as we bring this a little closer, I do expect my counties towards Bowling Green, Troy, and Carrollton all to see higher snowfall totals. It'll get lower the further south you go. Our impact for the day today. So through 6 p.m. we'll have active snowfall. I do think our most difficult driving conditions are pretty much going to be now through 3 to 4 o'clock, starting to taper off as we head into the evening. Something that will be a bit tricky too with our driving conditions is our elevated roadways as well as our bridges. Now, one thing I want you to do is I want you to salt your walkways tonight, especially your path from your house to your car if you park your car outside. With that snowfall, your car is going to pick up snow. We know how this goes. Then you're going to park your car. It's going to melt off your car. Then overnight, it's going to refreeze. So your walk to your car, especially as you go to pull the door out, that can be quite treacherous. I know I've fallen victim of that a few times. Then also do salt your steps and your path up to your house, and make sure your mail delivery person has an option to get to your mailbox as well. Remember, we got to take care of them this time of year. Alrighty, I'm going to go through a couple of cameras now. I'm going to take this view totally full so you have a good picture of what's going on. This camera, not so exciting. However, we have some other cameras that are pretty great. This is from 100 above the park, completely in the clouds, completely in the snow right now. Let's go over to Main Street, St. Charles, though, where the road is closed for Christmas traditions. And as you can see, it is not stopping people from heading out to enjoy Christmas traditions in Main Street, St. Charles. The road is blocked due to that festivity going on there. But you can see the sidewalk as well as the main cobblestone road there are all covered in snowfall right now. It's not a whole lot. It's all coming in less than an inch right now. We have heard reports, though, of 1.5 inches well to our west in Columbia, though. Let's go over to the airport, where I'm expecting my parents to land in about an hour or so, or I'm hoping my parents will land in about an hour or so. There have been a few delays. No surprise due to some snowfall out there. That snow is collected on the roofs, but as you can see in the taxi line further down towards the bottom, the road conditions are still enough that we're seeing some melt off, and it is nice and dry for some of those spots. So that is some good news there. Alrighty, let's go over to O'Fallon, Illinois, and see how O'Fallon is looking this morning, or almost midday here, heading into lunchtime. We have clear roadways for now, and our parking lot, as you can see there, is still looking a little glossy, so that's showing some melt off. But our cars and our elevated spots are starting to see some of that snowfall. It's still coming in, I would say, at about a trace amount. When you don't see that snow piling up on the grass, it's pretty minimal in those areas. Let's go over to Arnold now, where conditions there, our camera shows an elevated roadway, and clearly MoDOT has been out to salt and possibly to scrape since earlier this morning, probably salting though. Our elevated roadway right there at the little T where you can see those cars waiting to make a left-hand turn there. So those areas nice and glossy though, still picking up about trace amounts of snowfall for many of those spots. You can see it's still enough to melt through to the grass, and it's not piling up too much. The roadway looks pretty decent out in that direction. Okay, this one's a magical view. I'm going to take you over to the Kirkwood Farmers Market. The Kirkwood Farmers Market, what a time to pick out a Christmas tree. How magical is this? So we have some of that snowfall there. You get a naturally flocked tree this time of year with some of that snowfall. Those trees all look great. And you can see the parking lot behind those people who are picking out their Christmas tree. That is still nice and dry. But if you look over to the other parking lot closer to the train depot, all of those cars have snow on their windshield, so it's a good reminder to get your snow scraper. I need to find mine. So, alrighty, let's go over to Florissant here and see how things are looking in Old Town. Our road's still looking pretty good, and we've got a courageous shoveler out already. We'll have to shovel some more. We've got 2 shovelers in this shot. One thing I definitely want to do, they're clearly making a path with that snow shovel. They'll probably also get to the staircase. You'll want to salt as well so you don't have any icing issues overnight tonight. I'd say this is still coming in probably about a 1/4 inch of snowfall, probably a little less even, but it is definitely enough to cover some of the roads. We've got three shovelers out there, 3 courageous shovelers out there. We will have more snow throughout the day, so I would expect them to be back out, but they're doing what you should do. They're making a nice safe path from the road where people park their cars off to the buildings. That's what we all should be doing right now. Let's go over to Edwardsville, Illinois, which was one of my first cameras to actually pick up on some of that snowfall, but you can see their road temperatures are much warmer there, so nice and glossy. We're not seeing a whole lot. It's even melting off the cars in a few spots. You know, the cars are warm. Your pavement, so one side of the street here, this shows you kind of a little bit of a microclimate and what the buildings can do. One side, the sidewalk is completely covered with a little layer of snow, and then on the other side, closer to where you see the banners and the trees, it is not. So you just have a couple little footprints in the snow, nothing more than a dusting there. Those dustings, though, can be quite tricky, though. They can make conditions quite slick. Let's go see how the Missouri Botanical Garden is doing. They do a really good job of keeping their pathways nice and clear. It should be a pretty magical night tonight for Garden Glow. You'll have to bundle up though, because it'll be quite cold. You can see that snow on lots of different surfaces there. Their pavement though is still warm enough not to have that snow sticking. This also not a very impressive snowfall total here, as it's not piling up above the grass. Once we start hitting the grass and it starts to pile up, that's when you're looking into that 2-inch territory. Chesterfield camera is not all that exciting, and that is because we have overcast conditions there. It is starting to stick to some of the telephone poles there and along the sides of the freeway. You can just make that out a little bit. Conditions are certainly slow going in that direction. Let's get back to our forecast though, after we've gone through all of those great, fabulous pictures. So our temperatures outside right now, we have a little mix of everything happening. We have a push from the north, that's that cool air, but we also have a push from the south. With that southerly influence, that's providing some more moisture. You got to think of where that southern air is coming from. It's coming from the tropics. We have the Gulf of Mexico, those warmer states below us. All of that moisture is sort of colliding here, creating that snowfall. We do have some drier conditions that are trying to sneak in behind this. That would actually be good if you don't want snow. I love the snow, so I'm always rooting for more. But as far as temperatures go, let me back that up here a minute. 17 degrees in Des Moines, 19 in Moline. Very dry conditions there. That's that drier air. Then it's colliding. That cool, dry air is colliding with that warm, more damp air that has more moisture in it, and that's creating our snowfall right now. We are seeing a little shift in the wind direction though, as this system continues to press on. In terms of our current temperatures, it will feel much colder than this though outside, especially it's our first snow of the season. You get a little bit of that evaporative cooling when that snow falls on you and then starts to melt away. So you'll have to bundle up. We know how to do that. It's 30 degrees in St. Charles. It is 27 in O'Fallon, 29 in Cahokia. It is 30 for my friends in Pacific. All right, let's go over the radar view here. So this widespread system here, it will show you this is starting about 9 o'clock when this really started to move into us, started off light. We're getting into that band of heavier snowfall as this continues to push on through. We're sort of in the peak of it right now, and that'll continue for a few hours. Our snowfall rate is not all that impressive though right now. So let me go ahead and pause this view here so we can go over a couple of areas. You can see some heavier snowfall further down to the south and into Farmington. We do have some areas picking up on a little bit of light rain, so if you do have anybody who has to travel today down to the south, they could come across a little bit of freezing rain, and we know just a little bit of that can really impact our road conditions. A little bit of this can impact our road conditions, especially because it's the first snow of the season. We got to get back into the swing of things, getting used to driving around in that snow. Speaking of driving around, let's talk about our traffic conditions right now. We'll do a check of the traffic maps. And you can see, especially off to our west where the snow started off earlier, we have some congestion out there. I'm going to take this image full just so you can see what exactly we're dealing with here. So over into Cottleville, and we've got on 64 eastbound, we have a crash eastbound 9. We have a crash at 9 at Missouri K. Let me get a little closer view of this. So the left lane is blocked and the left-hand shoulder is blocked. The camera's going to get a little jumpy here for a minute just as I zoom into this area to show you these traffic conditions. So for Weldon Springs, we have the left lane blocked and the left-hand shoulder blocked due to a crash at 64 before exit 9, that's Missouri K. You can see it's very slow going in both directions. Most likely this is not the only crash or slide off in that area, just considering how slow the road is going. Over into St. Charles, this one does look like it's pretty close to the bridge here. And yeah, or on the bridge perhaps. Let's see what's going on. There. So the 2 lanes are blocked and the left-hand shoulder. So 2 lanes and the left-hand shoulder are blocked due to a crash on 70 westbound after exit 231 at Earth City Expressway. So that's 70 westbound. The two lanes are blocked and the left-hand shoulder is blocked due to a crash. You pull this view back a little bit more though, you could just see all of our road conditions here are quite slow going as you make your way into Columbia. Now that game in Columbia, today, Missouri versus Arkansas, that's scheduled for 2:30. So I expect this to probably be the peak of when people are going to try to make it to the game if maybe they skip tailgating because it was a little cold. Regardless, I do worry about people on the road for that game a little bit more there. I do think this one here is cleared along Pacific. We'll zoom in though and see if we've got, once again, it's a little jumpy because I don't have it in our show mode, so I can check a few other things while we're active on this. I think this accident here along 44 has cleared. It's just taking its time to clear from our icon. Just the traffic directions looks like things have moved along pretty quickly. Another thing to note here, sorry for jumping around so much, but do want to show you a couple of things. Pretty much all of your overpasses and on and off ramps, or even areas, high spots on the road, those will all be slow going due to this snowfall that's out there. Okay, let's see how long this is going to last for on our Futurecast. So our Futurecast right now is picking up on a little bit of rainfall. However, most of that is snow. It's going to transition that over though as this continues to slide through. Here's 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock with a band of moderate to heavy snowfall just south of St. Louis. This does move through pretty quickly. By about 4 or 5 o'clock, we're getting that snowfall out of the way, and then we're drier as we head into the overnight hours there. I do expect some drier air to come in behind this as well. So our snowfall forecast is still on track. So up to about 1 inch of snowfall for our areas near Farmington and Rolla, 1 to 3 inches of snow for the areas in the Cornflower Blue. And then for my friends in the Bowling Green area, these spots, your snow started earlier and your area was just much cooler. Not as much industry, not as much heat from all the buildings, because there's not a lot of buildings in that area. So your ground temperatures were much colder than some of our areas in the metro. So your snowfall totals will be higher just because it can accumulate faster instead of melting away, which is a lot of what is happening in the metro area. We'll bring this view in just a little bit closer so you can get a more pinpoint direction. So St. Charles, Jerseyville, Alton all has the potential of seeing about 2 inches of snowfall, maybe even a little bit more towards Jerseyville. Troy and to the north, I think you're looking at that 3 to 4 inch range. Even 5 inches is possible in a few spots, especially because snow, as we know, it tends to band. So you could have one street that has a ton of snow, you go over the next street and it wasn't as much. That just can happen with snowfall. In that cornflower blue color, about 1 to 3 inches of snowfall. That 3 inches is more towards the north and to the west, and then as you get further away, that's closer to those lower numbers. And then further down to the south, we're looking at up to 1 inch. It's still going to be a beautiful inch of snowfall though. This is a very wet snow that is coming down because we're very close to the freezing point, and with that wet snow, that just means that it sticks a lot more. So it'll compact great into snowballs and for snowmen, so it'll be a great one for the kids to play in. As far as sleddable snowfall, I don't think we're quite going to make it, especially with some of our taller grass. If you've cut the grass pretty short though, you might be able to sled on it. Let's talk about what you can expect for the rest of your day today. We're going to stay in the low 30s throughout the day with the snow continuing to come down. That snow will start to wrap up as we head into the evening, and then expect a hard freeze. This is why I want you to salt before we get into the overnight hours, because tomorrow could be very slippery as you walk out the door. Your weather impact 7-day forecast. So today is our only alert day here, so that is a positive. And then it's kind of hard to get into the swing of wanting to shovel and really take care of things, because if you wait, Monday we're going to have some decent melting when we make it to 36. Tuesday, 39, and then 51 degrees on Wednesday. It's all going to be gone. 48 on Thursday and 42 on Friday with nice and sunny conditions out there. So what we're going to have through the rest of the day is just that regular snowfall that we've been seeing. It's been quite pretty. I'll leave you with a shot of Busch Stadium as that snow comes down. It is a nice cozy weather for it. If you do have friends in town, maybe they can stay one more night and drive tomorrow when conditions will be a little better. They'll probably have a much smoother ride if you can wait until tomorrow. If you can't, my advice would be to drive later on tonight, closer to 6 o'clock, once that the active snowfall is gone and our road crews have had a better chance to be out on the roads.